What's going on, everybody? So today on puddinsfabshop, I need to give y'all an update on the shoebox project. I have not been posting as much as I'd like to, but I've still been getting some stuff done. We'll get further into it in a minute. Let's get started. I was doing pretty good about keeping up with videos on this thing up to the point we made it to the outside. The first thing I did after getting that other quarter done was I just shaved stuff on the firewall, and there's a few good sized holes up there, a lot of little small ones, and it wasn't anything that I really felt like I should make a video for, because it would have just been me welding up a couple holes, smooth them out. Inside, I did start the video of our little access cover here and lost the footage of it. So this piece, I'll show y'all real quick. So when I built this, I wanted this little lip, that way it'll drop down past where this floor is rolled there, because if you just obviously put a flat cover on it, stuff could come up through there. If you seam seal it now, when it goes to the bottom, that'll all seal off. It'll be nice. To build that, all I did was cut some 18 gauge, 1.5 inches wide, however long, and I broke it in the middle at a 90. And then I used the shrinker to bend it into these little radiuses. And I had to build this in a few pieces. I was trying to do it out of 2 pieces that were identical, and I couldn't get it done. I just don't have enough experience with it. But sit it down in there. It is welded with spot welds all the way around here. And then put the nut certs in there so they can just thread straight into the floor. Pretty simple to build, but you have to have a brake. Well, you could do it without a brake. You could break the metal on your table, but you'd have to have a shrinker for sure to get it done. But overall, pretty cool little design. So after I got that little cover built, I actually worked on the chassis, which is where I did the C-notch, which I posted that video. And at the same time of doing the C-notch, the next day, I built new shock mounts to correct the shock angle, because they're terrible on these cars, especially once they're lowered. And got those done. They ended up looking like this. And it took me a while to get the video edited. I didn't have time to just sit down and mess with it. And of course, just because I'm not posting videos, I'm still doing stuff here at the house. So I get to the point where I need to put the body back on the chassis. Long story short, the upper shock mount hits on the passenger side, because the trunk floor is different on that side because of the spare tire holder. And at that point, I was actually happy I hadn't posted the video, because at the end of the video, I was kind of approaching it like I may offer that as a kit, the C-notch, boxing plate, and the shock mount, all as a kit if someone was interested. But I don't want to sell a kit where someone has to cut their floor out. So I was kind of happy that happened. I cut out the floor, and that next morning I came out here, or actually I worked on the video. I got the shock mount, probably shock mount video 90% done. I came out here to make a new ending for the video, explaining that was gonna hit, so probably not a good idea, or don't do it like that unless you're prepared to cut out your floor. And somehow recording that last little video, when I went to put on the laptop, it corrupted the whole SD card. Said it wouldn't let me use it until I formatted it, and when I formatted it, I was gonna lose all the media. So boom, shock videos done like that. So all that work for nothing on that video. Now I'll show you how the little cover kind of turned out for where I had to cut the floor at. That little cover, blister, whatever you want to call it, I've been working out in the shop a lot lately, and I almost feel like I'm doing more bad than good. I'm having days that are just plumb kicking my ass, where I feel like I break more than I fix. So the day I built that, I'd actually been out here trying to get these taillight rings figured out for how to French these taillights, and I was really frustrated with that, messing with that. I went in the house, but I can't stay in the house, so I came back out, started drinking a couple beers, and in my head, what I was planning on doing was start the first attempt at that little blister, assuming I was going to mess it up. Not like a pity me thing, but I got a new bead roller, and I say new, my first bead roller ever, so it's pretty cool, but I don't have a lot of experience with it. I wanted to use those spoiler dies where I could put that curved edge on it, and I just didn't plan on it turning out good. I didn't have a lot of time that day, just an hour or so I could be messing around out here, and I thought I'd go ahead and get the first one out of the way, figure out what mistakes I was going to make along the way, and it just ended up turning out really good. It fit right down where it needed to be. I was really happy with it. So I was not expecting that, or I would have tried to record it, kind of showing how I was figuring it out as I went. But I really, like I said, I didn't think that thing was going to turn out in one shot. But it did, so that's how we ended up with the little cover done on a day, and it didn't get recorded. Originally, I had the EMS patch panels on here, down on the bottom, front and back, and I was making a video of that, and whenever I welded them in, it buckled and just warped plumb to shit. It looked terrible. Everything was fitting up great prior to welding. I still haven't figured out exactly what I did wrong, because I've never had anything warp quite like that. It was pretty bad. I went back, started hammering it out using shrinking disc, and I was cleaning it up, and I had probably a little over a third of it done, where it was nice and flat, or I won't say flat, it was worked out again where it wasn't buckled in. The whole panel has shape, so you can't say flat, but it was back where it needed to be, more than workable. But there's damage all over the top of the other quarter. There's damage in this, the body line back here for the tail light that Chris really wasn't happy about. They had big holes drilled right there and tried to fill them with lead. And anyways, he came up with a NOS quarter. In the end, putting this thing on here is actually less work as far as time goes. And I didn't want to post the other video of doing the patch panels till I finished getting it worked out, where I could show you guys if you did warp them that you could work it back out. Like I said, got about a third of the way done, and overall we ended up ditching that. This side kind of kicked my ass, but we have something even better now. This NOS quarter he found is in great shape. It's in even better shape than the other side. That one was kind of pitted. This thing's solid. So in the end, I feel like we end up with a better product. And I didn't want to make a video putting this full quarter on here, because I already done one on the other side, so that's why we didn't record over here. So after I did the quarter, that little blister and stuff, the next thing I was wanting to work on was Frenching the tail lights. Chris does not like the style where you put them in the little bucket and cut the bucket in. I gotta be honest, I'm not a huge fan of that style either. I kind of like the old school style where, you know, it's more or less like you're kind of welding on the trim ring. Of course, you can't weld on the trim ring because it's junk pot metal. So we want to do the style where you bend one of these little trim rings out of metal. That sounds pretty easy, right? I bet I spent 2 days perfecting trying to get those things right, where it really hugs that lens, where the lens pushes right up to it, and then it also has a crown shape in it going that way, so you have to factor for that as well. And I ended up building tooling for it. I'll show you real quick. Built this little buck out of 3/8, pretty heavy duty stuff, where I can build another one, or build these more. Build this little thing, I don't know what you want to call it. Call it an anvil or something, but you can use 2 bolts, suck that trim ring down to it, and then use the torch, run over that trim ring, heat up the metal, release the stress off of it, and it'll hold that shape. Extremely hard to record. Like I said, it took me, I worked on it throughout 3 different days, numerous hours each day, and I just figured them out yesterday, tacked them on, and I'm not moving forward with them until I get Chris here, have him put his eyes on it, and make sure he's happy. So that's a kind of good example of how my luck's been going lately. I was editing this update video and the very last scene that I recorded doing my ending. The camera messed up, freeze framed, and ruined that little video. So here I am recording another one. That's pretty well it for the car, guys. I apologize I haven't been able to get full videos out of this stuff, but sometimes life gets busy and I have a lot on my plate, and as much as I'd love to YouTube full time, it's just not possible for me. But that's it with the car. So some of you may notice that there is a patch panel on the door. We're not even going to get into that. I usually don't like jumping around on the car. If I'm working on the back, I stay at the back kind of thing. And in between waiting on the quarter and figuring that out, or before I even started on the taillights, because I needed the quarter. One day I thought I may knock that out. Of course, it's never that simple. So me, myself, I'm just pretending like I haven't even started messing with it yet, not till I get everything squared away back here. So I appreciate you guys watching. I know this probably ain't the update you want to see, just a bunch of me rambling and talking, but it is what it is. If you're new to the channel, check out other videos where we actually work on this thing. If you're always coming back, leave me some feedback down below. I always like to hear what you guys have to say. If you're on Instagram, I'm on there at puddinsfabshop, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. And don't forget, sitting on your ass won't finish your project.
What?